Hello, everyone. Marty Ken here, along with my good buddy Ken Brown, and we're your hosts of the local sports wrap-up here on Wide Net Cable Channel 15. Today is the 29th day of November, 2021. A lot's happened in the last week. How you doing there, Ken? How was your week, sir?
Great week for local sports, right?
That's right. You were at the tailgate.
Yeah, U of M. Yeah, U of M, Ohio State. I think that the biggest thing was it was surprising. I definitely thought Ohio State was going to win going into it.
You and everybody. I guess there was a little stat out there that 33 states in the United States overall had picked Ohio State because they got all the gambling stats now because of all the gambling sites. So they know just where you're at and what you're picking. And, since gambling is legal. But your tailgate was good? You stay warm?
Yeah, we had tents and heaters and alcohol.
No chance to get tickets?
No, tickets were $450. So if you wanted to spend that, you could go in. My brothers went in. You know, they had a good time. They had great seats. They said, put all the bail money in the middle because if they win, we're charging the field. So they did.
Well, everybody did, and my daughter was even on the edge of the railing there. She's only a couple rows up. But she didn't go on the field. She took pictures from off the field. But she was right next to Hutchinson when he was jumping up and down at the end, and they were doing the da-da-da. Yeah. She was right there. She sent me a little text with that going on.
No, it was a good game, man. I think that early on, Harbaugh knew that when they threw that interception on the red zone that they had to go start running the ball. Bo Schembechler 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And after that, I think that Haskins just carried the day for him. So they're going to Indy this weekend.
297 yards on the ground. That's a heck of a day. It's average 7 yards a carry. You're winning football games. You average 7 yards a carry no matter what the other team does.
Yeah. And if you don't get called for...
Oh, yeah. 60 running plays and not a single holding call. It's coincidence. Yeah. I'm just going to tell you, they had the refs in the pocket, too.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They played a good game. I mean, they played the game. And I will say, I think Ohio State really, you get into that bowl with all them screaming people, they were intimidated. The players themselves, not many of them have seen a stadium packed with fans like that. I mean, their own.
Yeah. And then, they're both playing 100,000 people. But I think you're right that, even the committee left it open, right? Cincinnati will get leapfrogged by Ohio State. They're the big brother in that state, for them. So I think that Cincinnati can get leapfrogged if Ohio State potentially.
They have no more games, though.
Yeah, they don't have any more games.
They're at the game.
But they were only 5. They still were 5. I think in the final poll, Ohio State was 5.
Yeah.
So they got it where if Cincinnati trips, that Ohio State will be in there. I bet you it's going to be a big conference. They're not going to let a little conference in. That's my opinion.
It could be. Who knows?
It's good, though.
Well, we had the finals in the Michigan High School Athletic Association football finals. And in Division I, our local team, Belleville, put 55 on Rochester Adams. A great day for them. I watched some of that game. All I know is that quarterback is a 14-year-old, and he's a man among boys.
Yeah, he's Underwood, I think is his name. He's 6'2", 180, freshman. He's killing it. Yeah, he's got 3 more years. And I guess we were reading where the senior said this guy is phenomenal now as a freshman. So they can't even imagine him in 3 years when he's a senior like them. And 6'2", 180 in freshman year.
Right.
He's going to build out, I think.
And the thing about him, that was, King's first since 2018 in their 4th in 7 years.
Now, Belleville's first ever.
I'm on the...
Yeah, Division I, Belleville's first ever.
But
I think that the interesting part was, remember we talked about Coach Crowell, Jermaine Crowell, 7 years ago. He came here from Detroit Tech, and he's 72-10 since he's been here. So after he got those recruits to start coming that way.
Sheet. Yeah, no, yeah. There is their first, and that last year took them 2 tries before they got through the semifinal game. We discussed that last week. Kid threw for 284 yards and 5 touchdowns and no picks. And the game was tight at the half. It was 21-20, and Rochester Adams probably felt pretty good about themselves because at that time, Underwood had completed 3 touchdown passes to Caldwell, and they were 56, 64, and 72 yards. So they're like, let's just stop the big play, and we'll stay in this game.
Yeah.
But at one point they were losing. I know that. They were down. I was flicking between that game and something else on Friday. Or Saturday. It was Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, the Michigan game.
Yeah.
There was a commercial
Makes
because
sense.
when Fox hosts a game, oh my goodness, it's a 4-hour game, because they run a commercial every time there's a change of possession, every time,
Yeah, you
So
gotta
I
make
was flicking back and forth and saw a couple of those plays. The 72-yarder, this kid, 175-pound, wide receiver, he's going out for a pass. And as the ball's coming, he just goes like that, and he creates separation. And none of the refs throw a flag or nothing, The poor kid that was guarding him was probably about 5'6", Never had a chance. Never had a chance. But they played well. I thought they controlled the game. They had 6 different players score touchdowns, along with this kid getting 3. But they were just on defense. That poor Rochester Adams quarterback, he was running for his life on a lot of plays. And on one of them, it was 4th and 22 or something, and he literally ran backwards 15 yards to escape. And the guy had him by the shirt and was spinning him. And as he was spinning, he just launched it and right to his receiver, like 25 yards down the field. They had enough for a first down, and they kept the drive alive. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And the next play, he's running for his life again. They couldn't block him. By the 4th quarter, they couldn't block the on-rushers.
Yeah. From what I read, it was they just were too athletic, too fast, and Adams didn't have a real shot. 55-33, 1 point away from Michigan high school playoff record for points. 56 is a state championship record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, 2 teams got that.
Yeah.
In Division II, we had Warrendale LaSalle take on Traverse City Central, and they beat them 41-14. And then in Division III, our other local team, Detroit Martin Luther King, 25 with DeWitt 21.
Right. And I think that was a good game because DeWitt was the champion last year. So then they played King, and then, like you said, it was 2 out of 4 years that King had really won the state championship. They had been in it. But then DeWitt was going for back-to-back, and then King beat them 25-21, which was a really close game. And I'm sure it was a home field advantage for Martin Luther King. They usually represent the Ford Field huge. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah. And it looks like they lost to Rouge a couple years back. King did.
Yeah, and the quarterback, Moore, he said during his freshman year they lost to Mona Shores in Muskegon, and then he said that they lost to Rouge, and then DeWitt won last year, so he was trying to get out there and get him a championship before it's all said and done, I guess. So, yeah, props to the Crusaders.
And Moore's became Mr. Football. Dante Moore was handed the Mr. Football award.
So that's probably the best high school football player,
in the
regardless
state.
of class. Yeah,
Is he a senior? He is a senior.
I'm sure he is because he said
he's
he
a
had,
junior.
Is he?
Yeah,
And
junior.
he won the best football player in the state. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
he
amazing.
got Mr. Football, it says.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that kid from Belleville has a couple years to get it too, right?
Oh,
yeah, he's got
man.
a couple years to get it.
You know what might happen, though, if we get realistic? You have a lot of these travel teams now that are quote-unquote high school teams. There was a big, I had talked about this before, there was a big thing in HBO about a school that, handpicked kids, set up a dorm, had a local church, high school that had become empty, that they took over, they had hired teachers, classes, but it was football all the time for these kids. And then they would travel from Pennsylvania to Texas to play a football game. Then they would play a football game in California against one of those A teams. This kid could get lost at one of those schools if he's highly recruited enough, because they're basically college feeder programs. Instead of the small school in Detroit getting this kid ready, but the kid could go play for Michigan or Michigan State, no problem, or Ohio State even. Or, just instead of doing that, they're getting this kid ready for, the Alabamas or the, Georgias.
He's playing better competition throughout the year. I get it. It's like 13th grade, whatever that prep school might be. But I think that with that coach as well, because he was at Cass Tech 7 years ago, so he had the kid that was a freshman quarterback at Cass Tech, won the first city state championship, and then he went on to go get in trouble after he signed with Michigan State, and then he went to Ferris State. But I think they have the blueprint where you can make it from here in football.
There's been plenty of kids.
Yeah. So I hope that they don't go down there and
come recruiting him.
Yeah, that'd be mean.
You get them smooth-talking recruiters, man.
Yeah, it's all about it. Yeah, they're all about it.
Not that you can recruit a high school kid. That's illegal. Yeah. I'd like to recruit a couple bowlers. Division 4, Chelsea with the 55 mark over Hudsonville Unity Christian. We got to give Chelsea props. I think, did they beat Ecorse out? I think they were the ones that knocked Ecorse out. So Chelsea scored, 50. This game went down to the final second, and they won it with a field goal.
Yeah. They were down 28 points going into the fourth quarter or something.
Which is nuts.
Right?
And
it says that the team that they were playing had basically had 800 points through the season running this single T or solid T offense. And they were, I don't know why they kept passing. I would have loved to see that game. But I seen that they had an interception with 2 minutes to go, and then they had a fumble with 1 minute, and then there was another fumble with 46 seconds. So all of this transpired, and then Chelsea gets the game-winning kick.
Crazy. And 803 points they scored, which was was the previous record for 11-player football was 774, set in 1999.
Wow.
So they're rolling some teams all year long. And that field goal kicker that won the game, they call him pea shooter. He never missed a kick all year. He did have two, a fumbled snap and a bad snap.
Okay.
He said, but that, he never missed. When he had an opportunity to kick it, he never missed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a high school kid.
I think you're right where your hats go off to Chelsea for winning 55-52 and coming back from 28 points down and all those scores. But, man, your heart just hurts for Unity Christian because if you're the other team and you're up that big, you can't see how you could possibly.
No, you're on the sidelines, high-fiving and living it up. The crowd's up there. You're going, hey, look at us.
Yeah, we got the momentum.
And then that happens. The game's not over. Play till the final seconds.
Yeah, to the whistle blows, right?
You're right, man. They were 4 scores down. That's crazy. 45-17. They were down. 28 points. So that was the largest comeback, by the way, in a Michigan Finals football game, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The coolest part for me is Brad Bush, who was the athletic director at Chelsea, and he was the coach for probably 20 years. When I was a sophomore in high school, he was our quarterback. You know what I mean? So it was probably good for Brad to get. I know my uncle went to the game because he coached in Chelsea for years. But so I'm glad that Ipsy Braves got a little bit of that taste of that,
There you go.
Yeah, no, I feel good.
Always
Go
cool.
Bush.
That's right. Division 5, Grand Rapids Catholic Central defeated Marine City 31-7. I think Marine City was a team that was rolling teams every week. I forget off the top of my head. But then in Division 6, we had Lansing Catholic 16 over Warren Michigan Collegiate 16-6.
Dang. That was a school that was close to us. We were looking at Collegiate all year long because they were playing some of those people in those divisions. I know Romulus Summit and things like that. They were in that division to play them. So Collegiate lost. Who else? What was the next one?
Pewamo Westphalia 14, Lawton 10. If I'm not mistaken, Pewamo Westphalia has won like 6 state titles in the last 8 years. Yeah. They're and then hats off to the South Lyon boys who lost to, I forget who they lost to. But my buddy Jeff said they sold out to win the regional game. They had 4 kids separate their shoulders in the regional game. He had 7 kids in shoulder harnesses playing in that football game against, I think it was Traverse.
Portage Central. Go.
Is that who it was?
That's who they lost to. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Portage.
And he said they'd come in with the front line of every kid was like 6'4" and 250 pounds, 230 pounds. He said, yeah. You don't want to let your kids know it's over before it starts. But he said they were playing with bodies. The last one, Division 8, Hudson 14, Beale City 7. We know nothing about either one of those teams. But, to get back to the South Lyon thing, he was right about, he only carried 43 kids. And I was talking earlier in the year that how the football team here only had 38, I think it was. And I was thinking, boy, that's terrible. But he only had 5 extra guys.
Yeah.
But, and he's not losing that many seniors. I think he's got his team balanced out to where he's only got 8 or 10 disappearing, 8, maybe. So that works out for him, a lot better because the program will stay strong.
Yeah, that's a good rebuild. I mean, you just reset, really, You get those juniors to step up, become captains. You're thinking getting a taste of playoff football is going to get you riled up and ready for whatever happens, man. I know if we were ever playing in November, you did your part, right?
I guess.
Yeah, you did your part. Yeah, so
I'll agree with that. Some hockey started this week. There was a Thanksgiving Classic tournament over at the Allen Park Ice Rink, and here's one that Woodhaven wins almost every year. And this year they got knocked out. They had to play the consolation game because Allen Park, Cabrini, and Carlson were in the finals.
All right.
Yeah, how about that? And Carlson ended up winning that game. I read the article. It was 3-3. And then it went to overtime, and nobody scored in overtime, so they went to a shootout, and it took till the 9th player to score. The first 4 guys didn't score on each team, and then the 9th guy went in for Carlson and put the move on the goalie, left his socks over there, and he scored, and then the goalie stopped the next shot, and that was it. They won the thing. Right. But we got a lot of games here that are coming up. I mean, 12-1 is in Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday hockey starts. You got a big thing at the Southfield Sports Arena, where our town, Wyandotte, Trenton, Woodhaven, Allen Park, Country Day, Grosse Pointe North, and Novi are all going to be playing on the 1st and the 3rd and the 4th out there. Going to be some good hockey.
Definitely. I've seen some powerhouses. You said Grosse Pointe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're Trenton.
Yeah. Novi. What about Catholic Central? They in there?
I don't see
Country
them.
Day is.
Country Day is.
There you go. They got it covered. No, that's good. Hockey's starting. You know what else is starting? Boys basketball.
Ah, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, right
You're going to be
there.
the color man, I hear. You're going to be giving some play-by-play in them basketball games?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get out there and watch the kids shoot around a little bit.
I think you'd handle that job well.
Yeah, but on December 7th, Grosse will play Wyandotte. And then Wyandotte will play Gabriel Richard on the 10th. They'll play Southgate on the 14th. Woodhaven on December 17th. And then they'll play Stockbridge, which I've only seen that sign going towards Lansing, so I'm assuming that that's them.
Gotta be the
20th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they got 5 games coming up here really quick in the next week and a half. So we're going to see what the Wyandotte boys. I know Atkins always had the girls together when he was coaching the girls, so I'm sure he'll have the boys rocking and rolling, pressing, screening, shooting. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, it's basketball, run. I mean, he gets the girls, volleyball, a lot of them play both sports, and that's good too. You know what else is starting up?
What?
Bowling.
Oh, how are we looking?
Well, let's see. I'll say this. Today is the 29th, and next Tuesday is our first meet.
Okay.
In our home court, Woodhaven Lanes, and we bowl Southgate. Not a perennial power, by no means, but that's why you play the game. Bowling's funny. You just got to knock down more pins than the other guy. It's not how, it's how many.
That's right.
Like golf, not how many strokes. I mean, it's how many strokes, not how it goes in the hole.
That's right.
But I'll say this. I'm happy with the progress. I've got basically 5 bowlers that have never bowled competitively.
Okay.
2 are 11th graders that played softball, so they're pretty athletic, and I've got them throwing the ball pretty good right now. But they have to know where they're throwing it. That's the tricky part. I can get them to release it, but it could go anywhere. So now we have to fine tune that honey, it's not as hard as you could throw it. Okay, this is the first thing I say. It's not as hard as you throw it. It's basically the direction you throw it in. I was shocked that when they have the new scorekeeping system at Thunderbolt Lanes up above, and it gives your speed. And I'm basically only throwing the ball about 13.5 miles an hour, and I thought that was kind of slow for me. But it really is very effective for me. So, I watch other people throw harder, but my spares are harder because I throw straighter, but they only get to maybe 15, and I was shocked how slow I was. But I am 62 years old, and young Marty used to throw it probably a lot harder and a lot better.
And like you said, it's really about the angle, right? It's
Direction,
really where you're,
yes.
you're going to let that
The
thing
first
go.
thing I work on all of them is this consistent release. Let's let it go the same way all the time. Whether you're going to back it up, whether you're going to roll it end over end, I try to get them to curve it. All it is come up with your thumb up, and it can be pretty simple.
I got you.
You know how you throw a football underhand? And you're spinning it to the other guy?
Yeah.
That's the release.
Wow.
It's that simple. You just take the thing and let it fly. And we have a football there as a training aid.
Wow.
We stand about 10 feet apart, and I'm like, now take a step towards me like you're throwing it, and we throw it, and it gets that nice tight spiral. When they throw it wrong and it goes end over end with the ends out, then they realize that's not the way to do it. You got to come up, lift the fingers, lift the thing. And so that's how we start with the beginners, even right at the foul line, even on the carpet. I get them throwing it to me from 10 feet away on the carpet, just, come on, let's get that consistent release. Then we don't have to wait for pins to get knocked down, the ball to come back. Just throw it to me over and over and over to it. Then you can go to the lane.
Muscle memory.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got you, yeah.
And so 100 frames from now, I would prefer you're better than you were 100 frames ago. And 100 frames from then, I would hope you're getting better than 100 frames before that. And pretty soon, 100 games from now, you're shooting 140s, 150s on a consistent. You fill in 6 out of your 10 frames. And that's all we ask, that you fill some frames.
That's it.
If the more frames you fill, the more games we win.
That's right.
And I have girls, varsity seniors, and one junior that are going to fill a lot of frames. I just got to find 2 more out of the 5 girls I got new.
So you think you got your anchor and your beginner?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Got the leadoff bowler and the anchor bowler. She won't change. Best bowler downriver, qualified, been all-state as a freshman, she's a good bowler. She's had some troubles today, but you know what? A bowler like her coming into practice on a Monday after this long weekend, probably a place she doesn't even want to be.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about her one bit next week.
Okay.
When the lights come on, she's pretty solid. And so we try to get them to do the things they're supposed to do, and then now I got to see which ones in the next week can be a little consistent with knocking down pins. So now I kind of keep score. They'll have them all bowl a game and see, who's bowling what. And
So you got the girls, and who has the boys?
Ronnie Sheeler has the boys.
Okay.
He's got a big squad. He kept 15 kids. I kept 9. So that way we'll have 2 JV teams. We'll have a mixed JV team and a boys JV team. And the mixed team will have to play as a boys team, but really the standings down in JV. I know they count for everything in basketball and they count for everything in baseball and all that, but me
Bowling, you wanna
personally,
get frames.
yeah, we just started with a JV. I want to say 3 years ago, or maybe 4. Before it was you just kept what you could on varsity, and then all the guys start saying our programs are dying because we don't have anyone in the wings.
Yeah.
So we just the powers that be decided a JV was a good idea. And in fact, the first year I was involved in that, we were losing 4 seniors, and Julia was the only freshman on the varsity team. I started spending all my time with the JV during the meets. When it's just me, I don't get over there that often during the meets, but I get over there. And with having Julia there, just bowling, I didn't really have to worry about her, and she had a coach over there. I started training all these kids, and the following year we were strong because I had a couple of Julia's volleyball buddies that came out to bowl, you know,
Yeah.
and I just stayed with them every meet. Like, you know, there's 16 meets, so every week I was on them, you know. Every now and then I'd drift down, see how my kid was doing.
Right.
But she was a freshman. I didn't expect much out of her then anyway.
Right.
She did fine. Yeah, so that's I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's my job to make them better, correct?
Yes. And I think you'll do really well.
As a coach, we take gratification when we do get those things. I didn't see any signed letters of intent, you know, in the News Herald. And Frank, thank you for doing a lot of our legwork. We got a lot of this information off the Michigan High School website, you know.
Yeah, which is really accessible, and that's nice. Also, we got girls basketball. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
And just like how the boys are starting with 5 or 6 games, the girls are going to do the same when they start on November 30th. Those games at Wyandotte will be at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Not 7 like normal. You show up at 7, you're going to miss some
something.
of it.
Yeah. But they also play Grosse Ile this week. They play Carlson, and then they play Southgate. So Wyandotte's girls are ramping up as well. So it looks like the winner. Oh, and swim. Swim and dive. Boys are starting against Dearborn, Dundee, Trenton. It must be a big swim meet. And it's a swimming and diving competition, so that should be fun.
You know what? It's funny that they don't play at the same time like the boys varsity than the girls varsity. That it's on 2 different like days. You know, we think do they do JV with the varsity most days? Is that how that works?
Talking about basketball?
Yeah.
Usually, if the boys have a home game, the girls will be away.
Ah, okay.
And then vice versa. Yeah.
And I know in volleyball they used to have to sit through the freshman game and then the JV game and then the varsity game would come on about 8 o'clock or whatever. And yeah.
It never affected me much because I wasn't a big swimmer. But I always wondered why swimming was in the winter.
Yeah. Makes
Seems
no
like
sense.
you get out the pool and you'll be freezing.
Right. Air's cold and everything. I agree with you. Well, as we wrap up, any hot parlays to talk about? I know their cameraman seems to be swimming in parlays lately.
Odds Jones is hot.
Odds Jones.
He's on a hot streak.
You know, there was a guy I read, he played about 15, 16 different combinations on a $50 bet and won $1.3 million on the Caesars site.
1.3 million. What's your first call? Well, you own your own business. Yours is different.
I'm putting that thing up for sale. That's the first thing I'm doing. Is putting that thing up for sale.
1.3 million. I'm making a call.
I'll say this: I could live on $100,000 a year for the next 10 years. I got no problem with that. What I do first, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm calling.
I'm not telling a lot of people. I know that.
I'm not going to make it to work tomorrow.
Oh,
that's
call.
going to be me,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
have to
coming
go in.
Yeah, I'm not
All right, as we wrap up, Marty Chinesky, this is Ken Brown. We will see you next week here on Local Sports. Don't forget to email us. The email came up, localsportswrapup@gmail.com. You can watch us on YouTube at your convenience, just YouTube Local Sports Wrap Up. And Ken, good to see you. See you in a week. We'll talk Michigan being in the final playoffs.
First time they're in the Big Ten championship game in the 12 years. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next week, everyone.